Testing 1, 2, test. Ay, ay, ay. Hello? Anybody? Or somebody? Hello, Robert. Okay. First guy, first come, first serve. I almost had to cancel my Friday, Saturday, and Sunday class because the Carolinas are under quarantine, and Seth comes from North Carolina, and Stacy comes from Virginia. But everything's all settled. The both of them will be here. No problems. So you're first come, first serve, Robert. And I had asked this afternoon to come up with some questions or some requests. You have anything? Jazz time? 3-2 son clave? Joe Morello's book? I'd like to work out of that one tonight. perhaps the triplet section, or the stone killer. That figures. Hold on. Let me go get the stick control book. Hold on, Robert. Page 29. Line 13. Okay, hold on. Okay, got it. You really picked an easy one for me tonight. Okay, you're in 6/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Excuse me. Or line 20. We're going to do both of them. Let's talk about the notation. You already know how to hit. Come on, where are you? You already know how to hit 1, 2, hold on. 1, 2, 3. No problem. Now you're going to have 4E and a 5E and a 6. Got it? 4E and a E and a 6. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. 4E and a 5E and a 6. Now you have 3. How you doing, Jim? Paul? You have 3 flags. So that's telling you 30-second notes. 30-second notes there would be 3E and a 3E and a 4E and a 5, 6. Yeah. 3E and a 4E and a 5, 3E and a 4E and a 5, 6. Hold on a second. It's a little weird. 3E and a 3E and a 4E. No. I really forgot how to do that. It's a grouping of 8, not 4. Or 6 rather. He doesn't simplify that. 3 flags means 30 seconds. So if it was 30 seconds, it would be 3E and a 3E and a 4E and a 5. So it should go to 6. Something is wrong there. I got to figure that one out. Okay, Robert? That was a hard one. 7 strokes? No. More than 7 strokes. You have 30-second notes. Okay? Oof. Let me give you a good example of that, written out in notation. All right, if I went to, say, 31, okay? Page 31, number 25. You have eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3E and 1. Well, we'll figure it out. I'll write it out for you. Go to page 31, line 1. You're in 3/8, so it's actually, you do it twice, it's 6/8. So you have 1 and 2 and 3E and 1 and 2 and 3E and you got it? And it's not 7 strokes. Let me prepare that for you for tomorrow afternoon, okay, Robert? Right now, I'm in the middle of craziness, like we all are. Thinking about taking over my town and calling it Drum City. Anyway, I don't like to engage in any political or religious conversations. But one thing I do respect, all right, okay, and I'm not going to Republican or Democrat or whatever the hell you are, it don't matter. We're all Americans and we're all human. Red, white, black, blue, purple, and orange. Anyway, what I liked, and I was listening to Rudy Giuliani. You might not like him, but I do. Okay? What he did, hold on, Paul, we'll get to that in a second. He was asked the question, if what happened in Seattle happened in New York City, what would he do? And I loved his answer. He said, it would only happen once. When it does happen, I get the whole police force and throw them out of there and never happen again. You know what? He was right. I love Rudy. Number 1 on page 27. Now let's go there. Sorry for the interruption, but I just had to say that. 27. It says 7-stroke roll there. All right? The only way that could happen to be a 7-stroke roll is if you tie it over, and it's written incorrectly. It's 30-second notes. You have 1, 2, 3. Okay? This is number 1. Oh, that's number 25. You said 27, right? I'm sorry. Come on, man. Get with the program. No, wow. That's a grouping of 10. Inga. These are all strange things, and I have to explain them to you. See, they're not written correctly for that. That was a good question. Put me on my toes. Yeah, page 27, number 1. It's not right. I have to, here's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to try, can't guarantee it. Maybe the next, not tomorrow's lesson, but when we go back the week after, I'll have some sheets sent out to you. What was that, page 27? Number 1, 11-stroke roll. 1, 2, 3. You got 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. No. 4E and the 5E and the 6E. You got to feel it in your groupings of 10. That's why you have the table of time. That takes a lot of practice and a lot of explanation, and it's very difficult to teach unless you can feel it. Well, it's not the do-nothing Democrats, Jimmy. Let's get with the program. They don't do anything, and Joe Biden is going to be the president, but Trump's going to win, and it's not the Democratic Party who's doing nothing for this. They love it because they love the violence and the power. So what they're doing is actually, in my opinion, they're hiring some radical extremists from Iraq or Iran or whatever to start all this shit. It's not an roll, Paul. Hold on a minute. Let me get my bearings here. I'm getting a little dizzy for something. Robert asked me a question, but I will put it together for you guys next lesson next week. the first lesson. We'll hit on this page, all right? And I will put it together and I'll give you some preliminary exercises to develop it. Now, when I hit the groups of 11 or 7 on the table of time, it drives me crazy. That's a lot of things to deal with. So I have to find some shortcuts to teach it a little bit better. I really never I never really did anything in the back of that book, except the 3/8 and some good stuff there, you know, fooling around. But I stay on the beginning of the book, and that's all you really need. Okay? It's an 11-stroke roll. 11-stroke roll is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's an 11-stroke roll. But we're going to get into it. Number 26, number 1. All right, hold on. And I love it. You keep me on my toes. Which one you want to know, Paul? Page 27, number 1. Yes, it's an 11-stroke roll. You got to count to 10. It's a weird situation there. What you need to do is go to Morello's book or Dave Stanik's book, The Table of Time. Because if you're doing 6/8, it's like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Got it? Now, you'll get these. This is where it goes. If I'm playing triplets, 1 and 2 and 3. Now 6/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You see that? Now, if I go to the groupings of 6, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and. Or it could be 1 and 2. Now, the 5s and the 10s, the 11s are going to drive me crazy. You can't really, you have to feel stuff like that, like we were talking about yesterday with the Charlie Wilcoxon book, where it says 5 or 7 rather. It's really a 5-stroke roll. They couldn't write the 7s. I guess they didn't have the notation back then. They didn't know how to write it. It's just that they didn't have the programs to do it. No, you're not confusing anything. No, Paul. All right, let's go to the table of time. And let's take the groupings of 7. And let's just hang out there. And this is the way I would approach getting my 7s better. I don't have my metronome again. So we're going to do 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Remember how we count to 7? 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do we understand what I'm doing there with the 7s? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do that with the metronome for about 10 minutes. It will pick up. You get the feeling of it. All right, the 8s, 9s, 10s. Now, that's where we have to go, where you want to get an 11-stroke roll in 6/8. You're going to count the 10s. How do we count the 10s? Well, it's twice as much as the 5s. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. Now the 11. Oh boy. The 11 I fall asleep on. It drives me crazy. One night I had nightmares about groupings of 11. I worked on it so hard. And it's something, that's very unusual, but you play it. You're getting 11 strokes equal distant between the quarter note. You got to watch the count now. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's the movement. I'm not going to play it any faster. Not if I play it for a while, I could play it up tempo a little bit. But it's an unusual place. I don't spend any time there. And that's my fault. But that's where you want to go. You see how I just did the groups of 7? If you've practiced the groups of 7 and practiced the groups of 11, we'll get to that page. All right, because the quarter notes, when you're playing that page, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now you're doing a grouping of 3 and a grouping of 10. So you got to feel the difference. And I'm going to come up with an exercise for you with the stick control book with 3s and 10s. And then 3s and 7s. It's insane. What's this? 11, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and no. No, you don't want to count that. You don't want to count that way. If you count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, 5 and 6, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, it's offbeat. If it works for you, fine, but I wouldn't go there. Okay? What you want to do you understand how to count the groupings of 1 to groupings of 12 on that page, on Joe Morello's table of time? Does everybody here know how to count it? No. Robert, let me write that out for you. Does everybody know how to count on the table of time from the groupings of 1, and it's not 30 seconds. It's 30 seconds, yes, but there's 11 strokes in there. You have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how you got to count it. And eventually, you thought you did. Did what? Oh, you mean being able to count the groupings. All right, let's start. We just did, we'll go back to the 11s. Let's do the 12s. Now, there's a couple ways you could approach it. You have to get 12 strokes, because if you come to the 1 of the next, just play the 1 of the next downbeat, it's a 13-stroke roll. Okay, so what we're going to play here, all right, is the grouping of 12. Now, I could subdivide this 2 different ways. The way I like to do it is count 1, 2, 3. All right, so I get 3. 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the. That gives me 12 strokes. Let me demonstrate. 1 E and the 2 E. Got it? 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the. notice the hands, they're all equal. That's counting the 12s. Now the 11s, you have to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1. And you got to work each one with a metronome, and sooner or later, you're going to be able to play down, all right, from the groupings of 1 to groupings of 12. So everybody understand how I broke up the 12s? 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and, or I could think of it like this, which is not really cool. I could think of 1, 2. I'm thinking a 2, 4. 1 and 2 and, or 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a, I'm thinking 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a. This shit's not easy, man. You ask some of the greatest drummers, man, they'll have a problem with this. This is not easy. Come on, computer, where'd you go? All right. So that takes care of the 12s, the 11s, the 10s. I have all kinds of exercises written out already that I made formulas, like R equals a grouping of 5, L equals a grouping of 10. All right, so if you did line 3, you have 2 groupings of 5s, 2 groupings of 10. This shit's difficult, man. It's unusual. People don't sit down and practice this kind of stuff unless you're classically trained. So you understand how to do the 12s, you understand how to do the 11s. Let's do the 10s and do them slow. And what I'm going to do, not tomorrow's lesson, tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow night, but the next lesson coming, which is going to be a Wednesday and Thursday, by the way, if that's okay with everybody else. All right? 1 o'clock and 7 o'clock Wednesdays and Thursdays the week after this. We're going to go now to 10s. Now I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. If you break it down, want to count it, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and. So that's the 12s, the 11s, and the 10s. 9s. Everybody here know how to count the 9s? It's a subdivisional count. Guys, respond, please. Do we know how to count so far we know how to count the 12s? 11 and 10s. Now we're on 9s. Do we all know how to count do we all know how to count the 12, the 11, and the 10s? Anybody want me to break that down? This might seem boring, but this is extremely important. That's what it's called, a table of time. It's fantastic for your timing. You know how to do the 9s, right, Paul? Robert? Okay. Jimmy? Don't say yes if you don't, because I'm going to do it anyway. The 9s I subdivide again in 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Every count is a triplet. Now you got to watch when you count this, because you don't want no accents except on the first stroke. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 1. All right, the 9s, I'm going to count, but I'm only going to put an accent on the first stroke, nice and slow. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 1. So I'm actually playing, I'm thinking the triplets. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Eighth note triplets. 1 and no accent. An accent. 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, 3. Now this weekend we're going to be working, Seth and Stacy and I are going to be working a whole lot on that. Does that help you with the nines? Jimmy, Robert, Paul, who else is not here? 10 people are watching, my goodness. And you guys are the only ones in the chat. This stuff is not easy. Does that help? You got it, Jimmy, but you got to do it slow. You got to be careful with that accent. Because a lot of guys make it sound like triplets, as opposed to. You hear the difference? Here's how some people make it sound. That sounds like the triplet. So I'm thinking triplet, 1 and 2 and 3 ended to get the nines. So I'm having 1, 2, 3, 1. When I play that, you don't hear no triplet. You understand? Who's that, Paul? All right. Nines. How about the eights? The eights are simple, man. Very commonplace. If I'm doing groups of 4 with one hand, I'm doubling up on that. So I'm going 1, E, and the, 2, E, the. Got it? That's the eights. And we did the sevens. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then the sixes we know how. 1 and 2 and 3. Then the fives. And the fours, 16th notes. Then the triplets. You're dropping the accent on the first note. Then the eighth notes. And quarter note triplets. 4 and. Quarter notes. So on and so forth. That's exhausting. It really is. Not physically, but mentally. What you want to do at first, and you need to be very patient. The elbows don't have to be in. They're relaxed by my side. I nail the accent with the elbows as a pump. It's not a whip. There is no molar shit, man. That molar thing has to be thrown out. They call that a whip. It's not a whip. Watch the elbows. You see the elbow going in like that, a pump? That's what it is, Jim. Not elbows in. It's not like this. It's relaxed. It's relaxed. You know what? I'm on a quest to throw that shit out, the molar stuff, because, you know, you got guys out there, the ambassador of the drum world. You do a low molar right, a low molar left. What the hell is that? And then he gets up and plays with a band and he sucks. Please. Oh man, you get me crazy, Jim. Not that you personally, but this stuff gets me crazy. Now here's how you want to approach it. Everybody here can play line 1, no problem. And write this down. When you're playing it, let's say you play it at 70. Okay, then you go to line 2. Let's say you could play that at 70 as well. Line 3, 4, 5, and 6. You have no problem at 70. Everything is correct. The levels are in place. It's sounding really nice. You feel relaxed, and you're happening. Now you get to the 7s. Inga bonga boonga. So you stay with the 7, and you build it to where you could play it at 72. You start maybe at 50, 56, 60, 64, 70, and hit 72. Once you hit 72, what you got to do, okay, what you have to do is now take from line 1, the groupies of 1 to 7 at 72. Now you should be having no problems with the 8s. Now the 9s, the 10s, the 11s, each one separately until you reach a happy medium with all the tempos. I mean, all the lines in one tempo. Then you practice it in one tempo from line 1, line 2, line 3, 4, so on and so forth until you get to the end. That's the way it's going to work for you. It's a time-consuming, it's a long, long journey. Well, when the arms start to wave, that means you're tightening the stick, Jimmy, and you're not allowing the stick to do what it wants. You know, it's like there was this video on YouTube, and I have to laugh at the guy who did, I forgot his name, but he's really a good drummer, and it was a little mockery or pun or whatever on the molar system. And the guy's there playing like this all throughout the song. That's how ridiculous the explanation of the molar thing is. It's the laws of physics. If you're going all over the place with your elbows, if you're on one surface, you're stiff someplace. You're tense. Okay? And it's just that if you ever watch Joe Morello's video on his technique video, he emphasizes this, you know, the movement of the arm up and down like this. He goes, eventually you'll levitate. And he's right. Keep doing that at a tempo of 150, man, you'd be exhausted physically. That's not what occurs when you play. You know, there was guys out there have a series of molar videos. They took them off the market because it's bullshit. Simple. Boy, I get crazy. I'm not complaining. I'm just pissed. Anyway, that's enough of the table of time. Let's go to Joe Morello's book. All right, where is it now? And let's go to the Stone Killer. Okay, come on, Stone Killer, where is that? Oh. All right, page 55. Now, when I first started with Joe, it was like he had no mercy on you, man. It's just either you're going to do the shit or you're not. And then, you know, through his experience of teaching, what's 56? Is that the tempo you can hit at, Robert? If you feel comfortable, you could do the whole page of 56. You're on your way, man. Anyway, yeah, page 50, 56, 55 in the Joe Morello book. Like I was saying, Joe Morello, with the delay, I get crazy. All right, with the Joe Morello, when I first went to see him, and he's a beautiful person, man, one of the greatest people ever to live, or put drumsticks in his hands, without a doubt. And he expected a lot from his students. Or if you but if you were a good player, he expected it from you, because that was the caliber you were at. So when you did the stick control book, for example, line 1 with the vamp, 2, 3, 4, vamp. Now, I could have, because I was playing 17 nights a week, playing for a long period of time, my hands were in shape and I could do that at a variety of tempos. But you get some students that went to see him that were very stiff and could not play a 4-measure vamp without getting stiff. So he wrote the Stone Killer. Now, if you look at the Stone Killer, the first one, section 1, it's 1 measure of 1/8 notes, the first line. You have 4 rights and 4 lefts. It's actually the half of a straight vamp. So you have 1, 3. That's pretty simple. Now, the next one, you extend the vamp to 1 measure, full measure of 1/8 notes with the right, another measure with the left. So if I did line 1 and line 2 over and over again, nice slow, back to the top, now guys were getting a little bit of a better feel and able to play that for a period of time. Now you go to the third line, 6/4. All right? Now I'm not counting 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 end, which I can, but I'm counting 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6. 1. So I'm extending now the 1/8 notes 4 more times. 3 and 4 and 5, 6. And then you'd have the last line. So let's do the whole line, the whole series, the triangle. We're only going to do line 1, 2, 3, and 4 twice and go back and forth, back to the beginning. Now you see how it works, guys? Now you find yourself, I can't say, Jimmy, do it at 200. Paul, do it at 160. No, it's an individual thing. You find you're comfortable at 100, 120, 60, whatever it might be. And stay there when you're comfortable. When I mean comfortable, I don't mean force it. That's not comfortable, it's tension. Just that's comfortable. Got it, guys? Understand? Now one more. Okay? That's the accent on the first note of the grouping of 4. Now you remember the levels here. It's the same process as the first the first Stone Killer. However, it's changed because now he has an accent on the first grouping. Down, tap, tap, up. That's important. Down, that's the motion of your stick. It's line 2. Next. Ah. Sit 4. 1 and 2. Ah. 1 and 2 and 4 and 5 and 6 and so on and so forth. Do we all understand that? Work on just the first 2. The third one is a little strange because you're putting the accent on the last stroke of the grouping. Now get them down. The first table of time, the table of time, the grouping, and then the stone killer, the first 2. It's a good exercise. But now, guys, really, I'm not a good example. I'm not using my metronome here. I should. I'm just one lazy dude, man, to hook it back up. I got some plugs in here that I got to put back in, and I'm afraid right now to do anything to screw the computer up on the stream. So I have to set something else up so it doesn't interfere with the stream. But I think tonight was a pretty good lesson, guys. Jimmy, who you kidding? I'm only kidding, Jimmy. Well, that's good, man. But remember, when you do the accent, and we're doing the eighth notes, when you're doing the accent on the first grouping, the first note of the grouping of 4, make sure it's down, tap, tap, up. And actually, the slower you do that, the better off you are. Now look at my elbow. It's not coming all the way out here. That's the molar thing, so-called molar. That's when you levitate. It's this. 1. Laws of physics. You get faster. Actually, when you get faster, you don't have time to do this. That's where you do it. You'd be going like this. Ha! All right, you got it? The lessons are going to get better. Trust me. Eventually, we're going to play the stick control book down with the stone killer. Now, we already know how to do this one. Then we're going to do this one. All of them, man. I got to get back into shape. My left hand is feeling a lot better these days. It's coming back. You can't forget about nothing, Paul. Yeah, I should talk. Last night I don't even remember John Ramsey's name. I'm a crazy man. Now, you're not going to see Stacy or you're going to see Seth. You might see Seth tomorrow, but Stacy's on her way up here tomorrow. And Seth will be up here tomorrow as well. I don't know what time he's coming, but we start class Friday at 12 in the afternoon. Jimmy, you want to change your mind? Get in your car and come down. Ride for 3 hours. Or 3.5 hours, is it? You can, no problem. You do everything that you do with your hands with the feet. Some things are going to be equal to your hands. Some things you go, oh wow, forget that. But it'll happen. You guys are doing real good, real good. No, I'm not going to tape it for you. Yeah, it has, Paul. But, directly we haven't worked with the Stone Killer, but indirectly we have. There's a lot in that book. And we're going to do book number 2 as well. So Jimmy, in your travels, if you get stick control, if you get Morello's Master Studies 2, send it by. But it's a good exercise. Anytime you put the drumsticks in your hands and stop the tension and let the stick do what it's supposed to do and maintain the laws of physics, you're going to be smoking. I'm not showing you how to play or feel something. All right, I'm showing you how to execute the correct way. And there is only one correct way. I mean, to do it different ways, you're going to get different sounds, which is okay, acceptable in some instances. But I mean, it is a paradiddles, downstroke, upstroke, tap, tap. Simple. It's not down molar, left, right molar, and shit like that. I'm going to ask Seth and I'm going to ask Stacy if they want me to tape a segment of what they're doing for you guys. It's entirely up to them. It's their time. I don't want to put them on the spot, but it's entirely up to them, okay? I'm sure they'll be willing to do that. You sure, Jimmy, you don't want to change your mind to come here Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? James. Ding, 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 ding. All right. Anyway, we'll see everybody tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to try 12:30. You got that, guys? 12:30. I'm going to try. Maybe 5 minutes later or whatever. But the earlier I come, the longer the lesson will be. We do have a lot to cover. I'm going to do another one. Let's see. The end of October. Well, I'm not going out. Where do you want to go? New York City? Start a riot? There's too much shit going on. The musicians aren't working yet. Wait till they straighten all that shit out. Unless you want to pack a gun. Huh. Robert, we appreciate you too, my man. Thank you. Okay, guys, we'll see everybody tomorrow. All right? Around 12:30, okay? Paul, have a good night. Jimmy, Robert. Man, there's a lot of people and nobody was put in the chat. Unbelievable. Unreal. Okay, have a good night.